you want to take your smartphone videos up an extra level, I could definitely recommend that you invest in a smartphone gimbal to get the smoothest shots, along with some other things that can make your videos stand out in the pack. Now, in my experience, Hohem has made some very good quality gimbals that get the job done and work very well to give you that extra cinematic experience when you're recording on your smartphone. And right here in front of me, I have their new iSteady Mobile Plus 3-axis handheld stabilizing gimbal for smartphones. This gimbal does support a max payload of 280 grams of weight, so even if you have a larger phone such as the iPhone Pro Max, you can still use this gimbal without a problem. One of the main features of this gimbal is it features a 600-degree Inception mode by rotating and panning 600 degrees of rotation, which is actually more than 360 degrees, so you're not limited to one rotation. You can almost have two full rotations and get that nice cinematic turning and panning as you're trying to get an amazing shot. It also does feature easy access controls right at your fingertips, so you can easily control the gimbal and your video with the touch of a button when you're using the Hohem app, which also does have other features such as visual auto tracking, motion time-lapse, panoramic, zoom control, face and object tracking. You name it, there's a good chance they're gonna have you covered. Everything is looking very nice. You can see how it's gonna look with your smartphone on there, and you can even mount this to a tripod if you want to have a hands-free experience and have it track you as you're moving around. So that's very nice to see. Let's get inside the box and look what we have here. We actually do have a perfectly form-fitting carrying case so you can keep everything in order. Hohem branding right here on the top, nice zipper design, and inside, wow, this is looking like a good gimbal. Inside we also do have a user manual, a quick start guide, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, very nice to see that it's USB Type-C, a little mini tripod in case you want to have that hands-free experience, as well as the gimbal itself, and this is a big boy gimbal. I have no hesitation that this will support a heavy phone. Now, taking a look at the gimbal itself, this is a 3-axis gimbal, so it can go up, down, left, right, and pan and tilt. So as you can see, this is the 600-degree rotation. As you can see, we're all the way at the end. We go one time, that's 360, and then all the way up to 600 degrees. Very cool. Our second area of rotation right here is at 320 degrees of rotation, and then our third area of rotation is also at 320 degrees. So as you can see, no matter what angle you're trying to get, this thing's gonna have you covered. Now, one of the amazing things about this gimbal, being that this is a larger sized gimbal, it does support up to 13 hours of use on a single charge, which would get you through even the longest of shooting days with your smartphone. And it only takes about 1.5 hours to fully charge it. Honestly, I think your smartphone would die well before this gimbal, so you might want to have a backup battery for your smartphone. Another area I just noticed that you can adjust it is right here. We do have this little knob, and you can actually loosen it up, so you can actually extend this arm a bit or push it back in depending on how big you need it to be. Now, if we take a look at the bottom, we do have the quarter thread mount, so you can mount it to a tripod, whether you want this mini one or a full-size tripod. It's entirely up to you. Any of them will work, but as you can see now, you can get a nice hands-free design if you want to have it set and just track you and record you nice and smoothly in case you don't have a cameraman handy. Over here on the left side, we do have a larger thread mount in case you need to mount some accessories. It is larger than the standard 1/4-inch thread, so keep that in mind. But also right next to it, we do have a rubber sealed USB-A port in case you need to charge an external device from the big battery that's in here, as well as the USB-C charging port to charge the gimbal itself. Now, taking a look over here on the back, we do have an easy access trigger so you can recenter the gimbal. Then over here on the front, we have all the different controls. We have the 360-degree joystick so you can move the gimbal around to your needs. We have the zoom switch right here to go tight and wide. We also have the mode switch button as well as the recording toggle button. You will of course have to pair the gimbal with your mobile device via Bluetooth in order to use these controls, and then for some of these controls such as zoom functionality, you will have to use the Hohem app. Now over here on the right side, we do have 4 LED indicators so you can know how much charge you have left of that 13 hours of battery life. And other than that, this does have some weight to it, but it doesn't have a ton of weight where it feels very uncomfortable. It feels very solid in the hands. A nice grippy material here, so you'll be able to hold it still, even though you don't have to hold it completely still because it's doing that job for you. Then coming up here to the mount itself, we do have another quarter thread mount in case you want to mount a light or something, and you can place your phone right in here. As you can see, stretches out to a good size so you can fit even the largest phones. For example, iPhone 12 Pro Max, we're gonna put it in here. As you can see, we do have some extra room still available. We're gonna just place it in here nice and tight. Although as you can see, this is a pretty big device and it is a bit top heavy, so that's where this knob comes into play. We're gonna loosen it up, stretch this out a bit to get it more centered. And now we have a better fit for this large device. Let's actually get this powered on real quick by holding down the record button, which doubles as the power button. Everything lit up. And just like that, look at that. Stabilized video. As you can see, I can turn it. I can go up and down. Wow, very, very nice. Look at that. 3-axis gimbal stabilization. Everything looks very smooth so far. And of course, like I was saying, no matter how I have this turn, let's say like this, all I have to do is double tap the trigger right here on the back, and it recenters everything to have it nice and straight, so I can start over without having to manually do it. But remember, 3-axis gimbal, I can do literally anything I want, and it's gonna keep it as still as possible. Right now it is in follow mode, so as you can see, it follows a little bit of a delay, so it can do it very smoothly. But look at this. Come on, this is a very large iPhone, and wow, I can't believe did you see that? I don't even know what I just did. I just went like 360 degrees. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that, but that was pretty cool. I'm surprised I was able to go with that much rotation. But now let's straighten it back out, just like that. Now I do recommend that you take a look at the manual because it'll let you know of everything that you can do with the gimbal, because there's a lot of stuff and it's a bit overwhelming if you're just trying to figure it out on your own. Now like I said, we do have Inception mode, so if I triple tap the mode button, 1, 2, 3, it enters Inception mode, and as you will see, it'll do a full 600-degree rotation, nice and smooth, starting right now. Okay, there we go, looking good. .600 degrees completed, and it comes back to center. Very nice. Now as far as the different modes go, the default mode is pan follow, so as you can see, it'll follow where I go and pan right behind it nice and smoothly. If I press the mode button one time, it enters into pan, tilt, and follow mode, where the roll axis is locked and the camera is able to move left and right and tilt up and down. If I press it one more time, we're in locked mode, so as you can see, everything is locked and it'll stay facing directly forward no matter how much I move. And if I press it one more time, we enter POV mode, which is all follow and inception. So you could tilt the axis, roll the axis, and pan the axis, all following the movement of the gimbal. As you can see, everything's moving, it's following along with whatever I do. And one of the cool things about the modes is it does illuminate which mode you're in with an LED light as you switch between them, so you know exactly what you're in and there's no more guessing game. So although you are able to do a lot of the functions of the gimbal without any third-party app, if you want to take 100% full advantage of everything, you have to download the Hohem Joy app. We're going to open it up. And as you can see, it instantly did notice that we have the iSteady Mobile Plus, and we're going to connect to it. It's successfully connected just like that. We're gonna tap on pair. So we can tap on the big orange circle in the middle with the shutter and Bluetooth symbol. And now as you can see, we are inside of the app and able to control everything from zooming to zooming out, moving it around, although this was normal. But you can see we can take photos in here, add different filters and beauty mode if we want to. We can have a gesture control turned on, which is very cool. We can do face tracking and object tracking. So let me actually try face tracking real quick. Oh wow. It's actually following my face. Very impressive. We also do have object tracking. For example, I have these AirPods here. We're gonna draw a square around it. And now, oh wow. Very impressive. It's actually following them smoothly. Okay, that's very cool. We of course do have video mode, which is going to allow you to record videos without having a cameraman or to make them very smooth. You can do up to 4K at 60 frames per second, obviously depending on your device. Of course, once again, you can do the same object and face tracking. We also do have time lapse and slow motion mode, which is going to be a lot easier using a gimbal. But the fun part, we have moments. So we have Inception, we have fantastic rotation, we have CloneMe, so you can actually clone yourself by putting this on a tripod and having it take a photo of you as you move across the scene. We have panoramic video. We have smart motion time lapse. We have Dolly Zoom, which gives you that very cool effect. We have Smart Dolly Zoom, which gives you a very cool effect as well. And then we're back to Inception. So as you can see, you can do so much stuff with this app. Now, of course, looking at the app interface, you can see Bluetooth connection on the top left, along with which mode that you're currently in. Over on the top right, you can see the battery percentage for your smartphone as well as the gimbal. Down here on the bottom left, we have Z and F, so you can adjust the zoom as well as the field of view, as you can see. And you can actually choose which one you want to be controlled by the zoom switch on the gimbal. As you can see, I switched it over to focus, and as you can see, it's blurring and moving as I move the switch on the gimbal itself. So that's very cool if you want to do that. So all that being said, the app is very useful if you want to take full advantage of the gimbal. I mean, this face tracking is awesome. But we're gonna head outside and put this gimbal to the test by testing out these different features and seeing how smooth it is when we're actually in the real world. All right, y'all, now we are out here ready to put this gimbal to the test. As you can see right now, we are not using the gimbal to get a baseline of how good the iPhone stabilization is on its own. And to be fair, it's actually pretty good, but not good enough to be used for something important like filmmaking. And as you can see when I'm walking, we shouldn't have too much jitter, but if I start running, we have a lot of vibration going on here and it's probably a little bit shaky. So let's move on to the gimbal, put this thing to the test and see how well it does. And now we're switched over to the gimbal. Not only is it keeping things very smooth as far as I can tell, but I can pan up, I can pan down, I can pan left and right, take a look at everything very smooth as I'm walking. If I start running, whoa, had to duck under there. There's a lot of jitter right now, but it looks like it's doing a very good job staying very smooth. And one of the cool things is with a simple double tap of the trigger, the camera turns center and now you can see me running with the camera facing forward and it should still be buttery smooth. Let's pan around. Look at this. Very smooth, doing a very good job. Look at that. Looks amazing. Let me pan it back over to me. Oh, I'm out of breath. And I turn around, and now it's looking at me once again. If I start jumping, hopefully it was able to keep me smooth there because that's insane. If I was holding that by hand, definitely wouldn't work. Let's go back forward again, just like that. We can run through the forest. Whoa. Wow, still very smooth. But now that we know that things are able to stay nice and smooth with the gimbal while we're walking, we're gonna put some of the more fun features to the test. So all in all, this is a very well-made gimbal, whether you're trying to smooth out your step, your shaky hands, use those cool modes like Inception, do some jumps like that and keep things nice and smooth. It works very well for all of its functions, and it even supports my iPhone Pro Max without a problem, and this phone is definitely very heavy. So very nice to see. Well, I'm out of breath from doing some parkour almost. steps. But the gimbal's holding up like a champ. It's been working for hours. No sign of battery drain so far, and things are looking smooth, like really smooth. Like if I start running, like if you take a look at where I am right now, it's a very bumpy little area. Well, as you can see, everything's smooth, even with all the bouncing around. If I was holding this by my hand, it would give you motion sickness instantly. I can tell you that for sure. So if you want to pick up one of these gimbals, links down below. You can use it with any of your smartphones and get a very smooth image, along with those very fun modes like Inception mode, Dolly mode, and even that panoramic time lapse, which was very cool. If you want to get a time lapse that isn't so boring, just looking in one direction, slowly moving across the scene, following the clouds. Very cool indeed, and this is a very well-made gimbal that has a lot of functions.